This podcast thanks to OFX, the experts in global money transfer. Transfer funds 24/7 with no hidden fees. The smart money's on the smart move. Go to OFX.com.
Sarah de Lorezno, hello to you.
Hello, Ed.
Hey, allergies are on the rise, and it's going to reach epidemic proportions essentially over the next handful of decades, right?
Yes. So the statistics are by 2050, allergies are expected to rise by 70%, affecting approximately 7.7 million Australians. Yeah, so it's one of those, it's actually considered to be the fastest growing chronic disease in Australia currently.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, as an allergy, can it be just like a passing thing, or can it be a permanent thing? Has it got a kind of little subset of, its severity?
It does, and that's your reactivity. So allergies affect everyone completely differently.
Yeah.
So just for everyone out there on this gorgeous Good Friday who's listening, I'm going to describe a list of symptoms and different profiles, because people with allergies tend to, or reactivity. So just to understand the difference, first of all. So allergy is that reaction where you have you might break into hives, people might go unconscious, they need EpiPens. It's all those more severe reactions, whereas where you've got reactivity, which is intolerance or hypersensitivity. So intolerance is things like, it could be anything as severe as like a lactose intolerance, which is lacking of an enzyme, or it can be just things like headaches, a cloudy head, not feeling great, and a whole lot of other symptoms.
Do we include like celiac as an allergy, or is that a bit more
That's not a disease. It's way more serious. Yeah. And even peanut allergies are things that are extremely serious. But just to go through what is basically the symptom picture of allergy in people. So you kind of break down, people fall into these categories. So are you the person where it affects your head? Do you get the itchy throat, itchy eyes, blocked ears, mouth ulcers, headaches, dark circles under the eyes? Or are you the respiratory person where it's sinus congestion, postnasal drip, sneezing, itchy, runny nose, mucus, tight chest, wheezing, asthma attacks, coughing, or just feeling chronically sick? Are you the digestive person where it's that bloating, flatulence, cramping in the lower gut, constipation, diarrhea, variable bowel motions? The skin person, there's only about 3 more to go. The skin person where you get itchy, dry skin, or that flushing rash, rosacea, eczema, psoriasis and hives. And then the person where your allergy or reactivity affects your mood. So do you have poor concentration, brain fog, you're anxious, jittery, low mood, aggressive, short-tempered, or that general picture where you don't quite know, where you don't quite fall into any of those categories, where you're just tired all the time and you've got energy slumps, muscular pain, have problems with weight loss, insomnia, and even frequent urination. But going on to children, is your child restless? Is your child tugging at his or her ear? There's their hyperactivity, unusually quiet, bedwetting, mood changes. All of these things fall into different profiles of people who with allergy and reactivity. But looking at the symptoms of food allergy, the symptoms are quite, when you look at it, it's gastrointestinal. So you've got that kind of, digestive, erratic bowel motions, skin, where it's the hive rashes and itchy skin, respiratory, asthma, sinus, congestion and sneezing, and the nervous system, of course, which is a foggy head, mood changes, restlessness, and headaches. So if anyone out there has got any of those things or falls into any of that profile, and they just are living this quality of life where they're accepting. I can't actually tell you how many people I see, Ed, that say, I might say to them, I've noticed that you've got this sort of like cough all the time. And they'll say, oh yeah, I've just had that all the time. Or someone else might say, oh, my son's on, I've got another lady who, and this kind of astounds me. She said, oh, my son's allergic to our dog. So I said, so what's your solution? Oh, well, my son's on steroids. And I'm like, your son is 6. It's going to affect his growth.
Wow.
And I've got another lady that I saw last week clinically who saw me for something completely different, who has symptoms, and she just said, and I said, oh, I've noticed that you sound quite congested. Oh, I've just been like that my whole life. Now, for anyone out there listening, you don't have to live that way. You can see me, come and I've got an allergy program which I run for 6 weeks, put 6 weeks aside, make it a job to really address what it is, and work with it, and then be in a position where you can roll around with the dog, mow the lawn if it's that, or if, eat foods that cause problems to you. Go to the Hunter Valley Gardens in spring and walk through not sneezing if it's that. Go and look at the tulips in Barrel. Like, honestly, just enjoy life without living compromised.
So are all allergies treatable? I draw the line. Some of them are, look, it's one of those things where there's, like, I wouldn't treat a peanut allergy because I feel that it's something that's it is quite serious. There is a degree of them, and everyone's individual. People react differently. People have different tolerance levels. Them you can improve quality of life, and some of them you can treat, yes. It just depends on the individual. Now, how do you diagnose an allergy? Can you do that through your iridology? Is it little blood tests or scrape tests?
All of those things are blood tests. You can do the serum, so you can do bloods, or you can go and get your skin tested for where they do patching. They do patches on your skin.
Looks like you get a little barcode essentially up your forearm.
So they do that. Yeah, that's more those airborne ones. So I deal a little bit more with food allergies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So people will come to me with symptoms, but I can do food intolerance testing.
A lot of people get headaches. How do we know that's strictly an allergy?
Well, they've gone through a lot. A lot of people who I see actually do, and I mean, there is a handful of people who just don't know, but a lot of people will sit there and say, "Oh, I've noticed that if I have some bread in the morning, I have a headache a couple of hours later."
It's a trigger, yeah.
Most people will see what their triggers are. Understanding that with allergy and with reactivity, you've got to look at the first line of defence in our body. So our skin, our respiratory system, and our digestive system are the barriers to those allergens. So they're the areas that are always going to get affected, understanding that. But yeah, a lot of people, they understand their triggers, and that's where clinically I run this program, and over the 6-week program, we do this. When people come and see me, generally they're unwell. They've usually got that variable bowel motion. They've got headaches. They're just irritated. They have the distension. And so whenever I treat people, part of the program is to, first of all, rest. And the biggest thing with treating allergies is you want to bring up their immunity, and understanding this, even with all of those 3 factors that are related to allergy and reactivity, that 70 to 80% of our immune system is in our gut.
Yeah.
So gut treatment is massively important for all factors of allergy and reactivity.
Have you ever met or transformed a client into a perfectly functioning human? And that sounds like a strange question. However, have you ever, like when you first assess someone, and people, I guess in your instance, come to you because they don't feel fantastic. However, have you coached or guided someone back to being pretty close to perfectly functioning, i.e. their immune system is just great. They don't get, the flu every year. They breathe well. They don't get these allergies. They sleep well. Their digestion's really good. You know what I'm saying? And then
holistically got someone into running like a fine-tuned machine. Yeah. You know what? I can put my hand up and say many times.
Yeah, great.
Clinically, I can claim yes. Definitely. If you even look at my Instagram, I post a lot of testimonials for people who come and say, I treat people holistically. So I will look at things like allergies as well, if they've come to see me for weight loss or various other things. And I can say that, a lot of people, I do it with myself. Of course I'm an expert in my field, but I think optimum health and feeling the brilliance and that of just like of a clean system that's running really well and sleeping well, and I'm good at that.
But it's interesting because people, like you say, kind of settle for having their car not run quite right because they know something rattles when they drive off, but they just kind of get used to it. They do the same with the rattle in their body. They kind of just put up with it.
People tolerate things, and people tolerate things for years and years and years, and they live their life, and they find coping mechanisms, and they find different things to say, oh, well, I'm just not going to eat that because I know that if I eat that in a couple of hours' time, I'm going to be bloated. So they kind of pick things up. So they're not actually allowing their body. So they're not actually allowing their body to build up their immunity. And the big thing is we want, with allergy and reactivity, we want our digestive system and our immune system in a really fine balance.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Look, I wonder, let's put it out there on this Good Friday. If you've got any allergies or you react to something rather strongly every single time you take it, even you maybe have a tiny amount of something in your food or your breakfast, or once in a while, maybe it's a chalky Easter egg, which would be so cruel by the body, but I bet it happens. Give us a call. We'd like to hear it, and we'll discuss some ways to maybe reduce that reaction and maybe make you allergy-free down the track as well. 13 12 83. Our fabulous nutritionist, Sarah De Lorenzo, is here today. We'll take your calls after this break here on Talking Lifestyle. Sharing Good Friday afternoon with you. It's Ed Phillips here. Nutritionist Sarah De Lorenzo is with us as well. Her website, by the way, sdlmethod.com. If you want to have a look at some of her programs. Today, focusing on allergies and your reactivity to certain foods and other toxins out there. And happy to take some of your questions and calls as well. 13 12 83 is our number. To Highgate Hill we go in Queensland. Sherilyn is standing by. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How can we help you? What's your question?
Just a beginner learning. My grandson had an allergic reaction to something. Not sure what it is. He's had some forms of nuts before, but he did have from a vegan shop strawberry and Nutella slice. And so we're thinking most vegan things are made on cashews. So can you be just allergic to cashews and not any other nuts, or that type of scenario? What would we be looking at to investigate?
It's all nuts. So I would actually, for me, like you have to be generalised with that. Peanuts are the main ones, but yes, if a lot of vegan food is made with nut, almonds and cashew bases. So it probably was from the Nutella. It would have been, I imagine, a homemade or a homemade Nutella if it was from a vegan store in particular. But most likely that. Do you know what else he ate that day, or was it just that in particular? And
it was after that, yeah. My daughter's actually due for a baby and she was at the hospital appointment, so Daddy took him down to the shop to buy a treat, and then he just blew up and they had to take him to the hospital.
And so what did they say at the hospital? That he had a nut allergy at that point?
No, they're not pinpointing it. We're thinking that. She does all her home cooking, and he has had nuts, he's had almond milk, that sort of thing. And so she's like, he hasn't had cashews, maybe it's that. And she rang the shop up, and they don't have a list of ingredients, which I am going to check out because I thought that was illegal not to. But
no,
I'm just sort of trying to pick a few points of what we could be looking at when we analyse that list.
So if you just a little suggestion. So what I do is you do this thing where you just rest. You would rest him for a period of time, and you just look at giving him a good healthy diet, lots of clean foods and no nuts, and you pull him off all kind of nuts. And I think maybe within the supervision of a healthcare professional, I would probably suggest doing a retest where you actually give him cashew and just testing that out. But of course, I would never do that at home. I wouldn't recommend that doing it at home. I would recommend doing that with a healthcare professional or at your GP, and also just getting you can get some food intolerance testing done as well, where you do some blood samples. That would be another, just to cut to the chase, that would be another suggestion. But there is ways, and there was a study interestingly done in America where they try, and these nut allergies really plague young children, and they actually have cured young children of nut allergies where they actually reintroduce powdered nuts to children over a period of time in tiny doses to actually build up their tolerance. Yeah.
Okay. Sherilyn, good luck with that. There's a couple of options. We've got a couple of calls, so we'll leap onto the next one. It's Rita in Adenza Park. Hello.
Hello. How are you going?
Good. What's your question for Sarah, who's standing by?
Well, Sarah, I've been to the doctor plenty of times. I've been to a specialist. I keep scratching, itchy, very itchy now for nearly 2 years. Just everyday itchy and all sores all over me. The sores are starting to fade now because the specialist I went to gave me antibiotics, but the itching hasn't gone away and it comes up like in little hives.
So what you need to do is you need to start working. I mean, there's a lot of common food groups that can cause these things, but you need to, Rita, start looking at what you're eating and how it's affecting you, and maybe seeing if there's a level, what your degree is of reaction to certain foods that you're eating. But to me, that's definitely an allergy. So if I was to treat you clinically, I would pull you off a lot of things and look at restoring your gut health and improving
I have problems with my gut at the moment. I feel sick in the stomach, but I don't eat much. That's my problem. I have got a very bad diet.
But you've just told me that, so why don't you change it?
Because I never feel like eating.
Oh, there's a lot going on there. Maybe too much for a phone call. Maybe you should come and see me, Rita.
Yeah. And where are you?
I'm in North Bondi. Yes.
I don't even know where Bondi is.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
well,
Never been there.
Just go online and dial up sdlmethod.com.
SDL method.
And if you don't even want to travel to Bondi ever, you can deal online with Sarah as well.
Skype.
Face to face.
We can do
Skype.
Skype.
Absolutely easy.
Yes.
Do it from around the country wherever you're listening to us today.
SDLmethod.com.
Yes, absolutely. Good luck, Rita. We hope you feel better. Follow that up. Gwen standing by and for clues today. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good, good. How can we help you out today?
Oh, well, I've got celiac. I've been diagnosed 18 years ago. And
Yes.
now they gave me another blood test.
Yes.
And now I'm only just gluten, not like the other tests they gave me about 5 or 6 years ago that was chicken, turkey, all the whole lot
Yes.
was off.
Yes.
And now I've developed my esophagus is going into spasms all the time.
Right.
And they've gave me a test, not this Tuesday, the Tuesday before,
Uh-huh.
with marshmallows and, I've forgotten what the other stuff was.
Marshmallows, yeah.
Marshmallow and some other stuff to swallow. And it completely finished me. I ended up being so sick for 2 days running. But what I found is that the gluten-free bread,
Right.
it sticks into the esophagus, and I'm trying to. I'm having dreadful trouble to breathe.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you have to remove the gluten-free bread, definitely, and look at. There's a lot of other fantastic options that you can have. You can get different grains. You can get quinoa-based products, rice-based products, which are better than a lot of those. I mean, I don't really like to say this, but a lot of those gluten-free breads, people find them. A lot of people find them, or most people find them, quite unpalatable. So you can get that fibre into you a different way with just moving maybe over to a rice, or that's a different option. But
Yeah, I tried a rice bread, but then the rice bread that you can get from the health shops, they've got all the seeds in it, and I can't have anything.
no, because you can't digest them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weren't
Okay.
you baking us up some beautiful kind of thinly sliced sweet potato that was being bred
yeah.
too?
So I've got this fantastic recipe, Gwen, I use for toast, which we were talking about last week, where I actually thinly slice lengthways a sweet potato, and you can either stick that in the toaster or under the grill a couple of minutes either side, and that's a fantastic option for breakfast.
Oh, I see,
yeah.
yeah.
So you've got to look at. You need to look at other alternatives, definitely.
Yeah, I've been having. I've tried the potato bread.
Yeah, I think you need to try maybe just keeping away from the bread-based options and just having some rice or getting some carbs in different ways through potatoes, through, you could have some quinoa, buckwheat.
Yeah, I've got quinoa, those wafer biscuits. I've been having them.
And they don't bother you at all?
No, that seems to be all right. But if I have any kind of milks, like rice milk or soya milk or coconut milk, it seems to stick also in the esophagus.
Yeah, so it just causes you. Do you get phlegm or coughing or?
Yeah, I get quite a lot of phlegm.
Okay, so that's that phlegm. So as I said before, like the respiratory system or the digestive system is one of the first barriers.
Oh, I see.
So you actually would probably have quite a few allergies. I would recommend, Gwen, that you have you done a blood test you did a blood test recently, right? So that showed
and then
up.
they've just said it was just gluten.
So the big thing for you as well is, for me, when I'm listening to this, is you really need to improve your immunity. So you need to get your immune system up.
Yeah, well, I've gone down from 44 to 39 kilos.
Oh, wow, how old are you?
80.
That's tiny.
I know.
And the thing is, with you, it sounds to me like a probiotic would be a fantastic. There's particular probiotics which you can take as for your age as well, but ones that contain Lactobacillus rhamnosus and Lactobacillus paracasei. That particular probiotic strains are really fantastic when treating allergy or reactivity.
Why don't you hang on the line there, Gwen? We can grab your details and maybe follow it up because you're not too far from.
I would like to see her because I've seen a few different dietitians and they only see me twice and they get rid of me.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's probably worthwhile.
Yeah.
First stop is a GP. We also think gastroenterologist perhaps as well.
Yeah,
if it's esophagus issues. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had the that test done with marshmallows and and I've got to go
Sounds
back
fun.
on Tuesday.
My boys would love that test. They would study for that test. All right, Gwen, stay there with us. We'll grab your details, hun. We'll be back to you in a sec. When you're assessing a patient, what's your therapeutic goal in this sort of case? When we're talking allergies, what's your end game?
So anyone who comes in to see me, my first thing to do is symptom relief, because people who do come to see me actually have a lot of symptoms, and it is if it's that variable bowel, constipation, diarrhea, headaches, sneezing, coughing, itchy eyes, they've got sore ears, they've got dark circles under their eyes. People who come to see me really have had enough. They've done a lot of other things. They've gone through a lot of other avenues to try and find out what's wrong with them. So my first thing, basically, I really look at is symptom relief. Then I address what the underlying contributing factors are. Mm-hmm. Some people, it's about supporting their health. It might be about, definitely improving their tolerance, reducing their ongoing reactivity. And in some people, I might even do a detox on. I might throw in a 2-week mini detox in there if they really need that detoxing, especially if it's to do with skin. And so then for me, that's my therapeutic goals, of course, symptom relief, addressing it. And now a lot of people, we either have the reset done where they just have a rest. We improve their immune system. We of course heal their gut through using supplements like glutamine for gut health. And then I often look at we either retest. So we've pulled a lot of things out of the diet, and then we go through a retesting phase where I'll introduce certain things, and then it is like a job. Anyone who's dealing with allergy or reactivity, this is actually, you've got to consider this time with your practitioner as a job. You've got to take it on. And it's about keeping a journal. It's about symptoms. It's about how you feel after certain foods, especially if we're trying to find out what food it is. But
one of your mantras, which you heard as a young lassie, was let food actually be your medicine.
It is.
Not looking for a pill to make you feel better. The food that you put in every day.
But this is the problem we're having, is that people tend to wrap up their babies a lot more in cotton wool now than they used to, and you need that diversity. Yeah. Kids need to be. Look, mine never did it, but I definitely gave my children time to walk around with bare feet, and I definitely gave them an extremely diverse range of food from. Pretty much just around the age of 1, they would have had everything, strawberries, nuts, and I made sure they had that diversity for their microbiome. And that's where you find people who pull back and hold back on a lot of things. Those children are the ones who tend to end up with allergies. But let them roll around in the mud, let them have fun, bare feet.
Tonight we should dine on spatchcock. Give it a go. Why not?
Why not?
Yeah. Now, you mentioned glutamine as a nutritional supplement. Anything else?
Yes,
good
definitely.
in the spectrum for allergies?
Absolutely. So the big thing we want to look at, of course, is omega-3. Yeah. So that's your really high-strength fish oil. So that's anti-inflammatory.
Perfect day. Good Friday. Get some of that in here.
Yes. The other one in immune system support, of course, vitamin A, vitamin D, and the gorgeousness of zinc.
Yeah.
But it's also those amazing mushrooms like shiitake and reishi. And, of course, a probiotic, which, of course, I just mentioned before with the strains, the LP33 and the LGG. But the other one is the other anti-inflammatories we can have with quercetin and bromelain, and that's just found. You can have that as a supplement, but bromelain is what we find in things like pineapple, and quercetin we find in things like apples and leafy greens. So getting those kind of things. But I, of course, with anyone who comes to see me, what I do with them is we go through our foods that we can have and foods that we can't have, because, as I said before, everyone is individual. So when people see me, we go through that list and we work it all out, and we start our process by withdrawing those foods that are aggravating and the foods to avoid. So that's kind of the process that I start with.
And the great thing is you're the nutritionist who practices what she preaches. So you don't just say, you're not dining on pavlova while you're sending out these people to eat just quinoa.
Not a
grain.
chance.
You were up at what god-awful time this morning?
At 4 a.m.
That's outrageous. Okay, getting home at 4, getting up at 4.
No, I got up at 4.
Getting up at 4 to go training.
Yeah.
Crazy. And then a healthy day. What was your breakfast? What was your breakfast in a bowl today?
What did I have for breakfast today? I think I did some chia. I had chia, which I'd soaked overnight in some coconut milk, and then I had a bit of Greek yogurt and a little bit of maple syrup on it with some blueberries and strawberries.
You love your maple syrup.
I could drink it. Yeah, I'm obsessed. Yeah. Well, that's my sweetener. Yeah. That's what I use for sweetener. I do love it. Does go in everything, maple. Yes.
Yeah. Alrighty. Look, we've been speaking over recent months this year, Sarah. You've jabbed and poked me and near blinded me with the iridology and tested me for everything. So thorough. If people want to follow through, like we said, you can do treatments online or via clinics in Sydney as well, which is also pretty handy. But you get the face-to-face of Skype and so on for further consults. So that's a great option. Yes. SDLmethod.com is your website. Best of health and books and things not too far off. Perhaps.
I've got a cookbook coming out soon. I do on my Instagram. My Instagram's SDL Method. Yeah. I do actually put a lot of my own recipes up, and I do have all the recipes are my own, and I must get people contacting me all the time saying to me, where are all your recipes? Where's your cookbook? I have actually written the cookbook. I'm just going to put it together, but even just a little bit just to share on allergies now quickly, a little recipe on making your own almond milk. This will take me 10 seconds. Okay. So for all of you who have a dairy allergy, how easy is this? Because my biggest thing is tweaking things for good health and tweaking for healthy alternatives. So all you do is get a cup of almonds, soak them overnight in some water, discard that water, put those almonds in a blender with 2 cups of water, blend it, then drain it over some cheesecloth, squeeze it out a little bit more, get rid of the pulp, and there's your almond milk.
Add maple syrup.
And add maple syrup for sweetener. But if anyone follows my Instagram, definitely they'll know about my cookbook coming out, but it's on my website as well.
Good stuff. Thanks, Sarah.
Thanks, Ed. Thank you so much. We'll chat down